Okay. So I will now call the special meeting of the Contra Costa Transportation Authority Board to order and ask that you please give your attention to this short video.
Due to COVID-19, this meeting will be conducted as a Zoom meeting pursuant to the provisions of the Governor's Executive Order N-2920, which suspends certain requirements of the Brown Act. This meeting is being live streamed on the CCTA website. The chair will call upon members, staff, and other speakers by name. Please speak clearly and state your name before giving comments or remarks. Persons participating via Zoom with their cameras enabled are reminded that their activities are visible to viewers. Members participating by Zoom wishing to speak should physically raise their hand and unmute their mic when called upon. Members should remute their mics when done speaking. Citizens participating by Zoom wishing to speak should use the Raise Hand feature or dial *9 if participating via phone, and the chair or staff will call upon them at the appropriate time. Citizens will have 3 minutes to speak. A 30-second warning will be provided. After 3 minutes, staff will lower their hand and mute their mic. Participants via phone will be called upon by the last 4 digits of their phone number. It is requested that public speakers state their names and organization, but providing such information is voluntary. Written public comments received in accordance with the COVID-19 Special Notice for Public Comment Guidelines are printed on the meeting agenda. If authors of the written correspondence would like to speak, they should raise their hand and the chair will call upon them at the appropriate time. All written correspondence received after that and during the meeting will be entered into the record. A roll call vote will be taken for all action items. Thank you for participating in a meeting of the Contra Costa Transportation Authority.
Thank you. And Terry Ann will now conduct the roll call.
Commissioner Arnrich.
Here.
Commissioner Butt.
Here.
Commissioner Glover.
Here.
Commissioner Haskew.
Here.
Commissioner Hudson.
Here.
Commissioner Mitchoff.
Here.
Commissioner Nowak. She's absent. Commissioner Thorpe.
Here.
Commissioner White.
Here.
Commissioner Fedeli.
Here.
Chair Geringer.
Here.
Let's see, Representative Allen.
Foley is
Representative
here.
Foley. Thank you.
Present.
Representative Powers.
Here.
Representative Worth.
Here.
Okay, we have Commissioner Nowak absent, and we have Commissioner Fedeli for Vice Chair Kelly and Representative Foley for Representative Allen present.
Okay, thank you, and welcome again, everyone. We will now move on to public comment, and this is for public comment for items that are not listed on the agenda. And I do see a hand raised, but Terry Ann, do we receive any written public comment?
We have not received any written public comment for general public comment.
Okay, thank you. And are there any members of the public who wish to speak to items that are not currently on the agenda today, but under the purview? Please raise your hand. And I'm not seeing any virtual or hands flying about. So we will move on to our regular agenda item, and we will consider adopting a resolution to continue conducting remote teleconferencing meetings of the legislative bodies of the authority pursuant to Assembly Bill AB 361. And this item will be presented by Terry Ann. So thank you, Terry Ann.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for your availability to meet this afternoon at a special meeting to consider adopting Assembly Bill 361. We have met over the last year and a half remotely via the governor's executive orders that provide exemptions to the Brown Act for teleconferencing, including not having to post the location of where each board and committee member is participating, not having to post notices at each teleconferencing location, not requiring public access and comment from each location, not requiring that a quorum of members participate from within Contra Costa County. In June, the governor issued Executive Order N-0821 to terminate the Brown Act modifications for teleconferencing effective today, September 30th. He further ratified this with Executive Order N-1521 on September 21st to clarify that the exemptions under his executive order were to be used through today, and that Assembly Bill 361 would need to be adopted for use on October 1st if agencies were to continue meeting under the Brown Act teleconferencing modifications. The governor signed Assembly Bill 361 into law on September 16th with the sunset date of January 1st, 2024, which allows public agencies to continue meeting virtually with the same Brown Act exemptions used under the executive orders. The purpose of AB 361 is to assist local agencies with continuing their critical operations despite facing emergencies that pose a risk to human health and safety. There are some continuing additional requirements, including that the board must adopt a resolution by majority vote, which affirms that local officials have imposed or recommend measures to promote social distancing, and ratifies the proclamation of a state of emergency pursuant to Government Code Section 8625, and authorizes that remote teleconference meetings of the legislative bodies of the authority, including all standing and advisory committees. We must still follow the requirements for advance noticing of the meetings posted at our usual locations on the website and the boardroom, and provide the proper means for public comment via a call-in or internet-based option. Written and remote public comments must be accepted until the point at which public comment period formally closes. We cannot require that comments be submitted in advance of the meeting, and we must ensure adequate time for public comment. Additionally, if there's a disruption, such as the loss of internet connection, we cannot take any further action until resolved. The resolution being considered today would cover the period of October 1st through the 30th. Additionally, the resolution must be renewed every 30 days to reconsider the circumstances of the state of emergency, and then determine that either the state of emergency continues to directly impact the ability of the members to meet safely in person, or that state and local officials continue to impose or recommend measures to promote social distancing. For purposes of this legislative bodies, this would also include not only the board, but all of our standing and advisory committees as defined in our admin code, including other standing committees and the regional transportation planning committees. We do suggest that the ones that are joint powers authorities adopt their own resolution. We also considered the other options, such as resuming to in-person meetings for all legislative bodies of the authority, or moving to a hybrid meeting platform in which the teleconferencing would follow the standard pre-pandemic Brown Act teleconferencing requirements. On September 20th, the Contra Costa Health Services published recommendations for safely holding public meetings, and they strongly recommended that all public meetings continue to be held online, and that public comment continue to be offered via call-in or internet-based options, that we develop a written safety protocol that includes social distancing and wearing masks, and suggested that a voluntary attendance sheet with names and contact information be used for contact tracing of any cases linked to public meetings. With the Delta and other potential variants and the flu season upon us, the addition of the recommendations from Contra Costa Health Services, and in the best interest of the health and safety of our attendees, staff is recommending that the board adopt procedures pursuant to AB 361 through adopting Resolution 2145A, proclaiming a local emergency, ratifying the proclamation of a state of emergency pursuant to Government Code Section 8625, and authorize remote teleconferencing meetings of the legislative bodies of the authority for the period of October pursuant to the Brown Act provisions under Assembly Bill 361. This will be reconsidered again too at the October 20th regular board meeting for continuing virtual meetings in November, and will become a standing board item each month to consider renewing the resolution to conduct public meetings virtually. And should this resolution be adopted for October, I'm seeking direction from the board for how to proceed at subsequent meetings with a 30-day renewal. We can either bring a resolution for adoption each month or approve it via a minute order or motion. So what would be the preference for this, as well as how it's agendized, if it's to be agendized under the consent calendar or as a regular agenda item? And that concludes my presentation. I'm available to respond to any comments and directions from the board. We also have Mark Watts, our state legislative advocate, and David McCray, our legal counsel, present to answer any questions. Thank you.
I'll move the staff recommendation.
Second,
Second.
and my preference is that you put it in a minute order in the consent calendar.
Okay,
Second.
so I have a motion from, and I'm going to go through the rest of the procedure, but I have a motion from Commissioner Butt and a second from Commissioner Glover. Terry Ann, have we received, first of all, do any other board members and comments from Commissioner Hudson, do any other board commissioners wish to speak on this item, or do you have any questions? Not seeing any hands. Terry Ann, did we receive any written comments on this item?
We did receive a written public comment from our Countywide Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee member, McWee. She's also here with us this evening, so I would like to give her the opportunity to speak with you versus me reading the written public comment, which I will also share with you as well tomorrow after the
Okay.
meeting. But Member McWee, did you want to address the board verbally? Okay,
Okay, welcome.
let me mute you here.
She is still, muted. But
And
Thanks,
sorry, I need to share the, just give me one moment here. Let's see.
I wonder, as long as you're going in there to get that, I think I'm gonna.
hold on one.
Let me know when it's okay for me to go forward.
Sorry, I'm trying to share the there you go. Can everyone see that?
Just that you've started screen sharing. We don't see either the timer or the written.
Sorry, I had this problem the other day on Zoom. It kept pausing. It wouldn't let me unfreeze it. Let me try again.
And if you, okay,
See it now?
yes.
Yes. Okay. So,
Okay, so Marjorie or Member McWee, welcome. And you can begin.
Thank you, everyone, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm actually speaking in support of this motion. My name is Marjorie McWee, and I'm a member of the Countywide Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. My role on that committee is to represent stakeholders who are disabled and or who are seniors. And realizing that there may be some strong momentum for in-person meetings, I am requesting that the board consider continuing the practice of holding virtual meetings, or at a minimum that it provide a way for virtual hybrid meetings to be held. Over the last 18 months, there have been 3 benefits to holding virtual meetings. First, it has allowed us to participate without the unproductive commute time, costs, and physical challenges often required to travel to in-person meetings. Second, virtual meetings help us improve accessibility and inclusiveness for people who otherwise could not physically attend or who do not have access to the transportation to do so. And third, and most importantly, through our virtual meetings, we have each kept each other safe from the virus. And we all know it's a high risk to all of us, and that still exists regardless of our best intentions. A return to in-person meetings will result in the loss of all these benefits. Even though some may feel comfortable attending in person, for those of us who can't or shouldn't, we face a dilemma. Participating in these government forums versus taking care of ourselves. What a conundrum, and inadvertently we risk excluding some of our constituents. However, the hybrid model or virtual model is the perfect solution and provides a reasonable accommodation for those of us who require it. Over time, we may also realize one last benefit: engaging more public members to join in our work because of both the safety and convenience provided through virtual meetings. Thank you for considering these options and for helping us pull down the barriers to participation, and most importantly, for continuing to keep us all safe.
Thank you. And thank you for taking the time to both write in and to come today to share your thoughts. And thank you for your service on the Advisory Council Commission. Terry Ann, you want to pull down the screen share now?
yeah, I just wanted to make sure. It looks like we have no other public comment before I pull it down.
Oh, thank you. Since it's acting up.
Yeah, I don't see any other hands raised. So I'll go ahead and stop share. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I do want to confirm one thing before we call for the vote. And you mentioned that basically, can you remind us again, all of the committees and subcommittees that this applies to for the authority board and who it doesn't apply to?
Yeah, so any of our committees that are subject to the Brown Act. So we have the Countywide Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, Citizens Advisory Committee, Paratransit Coordinating Council, Citizens Advisory, and the Technical Coordinating Committee. So So all of our standing committees, as well as our policy advisory committees, such as the Innovate 680 Policy Advisory Committee, and then our task force, such as the Accessible Transportation Strategic Plan Task Force that we're putting together now. So all of those would be inclusive, as well as the Regional Transportation Planning
Thank you.
Committees. So pretty much all standing and advisory committees. We do recommend that the two JPAs do, further adopt their own resolution. So that would be for TransPAC and WICTAC. And then also that would encompass their advisory committees as well, like their tax.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we were all aware of that. And so if there's not any additional discussion or questions, Terry Ann, we have Loella. I mean, Commissioner Haskew.
On both of them. Would TransPAC have had to do this by today, or can we adopt it as late as when we meet a week or two from now?
So there's been a kind of different interpretations on that. I was on a city clerk roundtable yesterday, and a lot of the cities are actually adopting it at their next meeting. And some of those do fall after the first. We went off the advisory of the AB 361 implementation guide that was put out from the California Special Districts Association. And their recommendation was that it had to be done before October 1st, which is why we called this special meeting. But I do know that there is different interpretation, and a lot of agencies are, doing it at their next meeting. So I think that you could do it at your next meeting, but I don't want to give legal advice. I just know I'm telling you what cities are doing, but we specifically did follow the California Special Districts Association, which said it had to be done by today.
Okay, well, I guess we'll have to meet in person then. Hey, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could probably just, I'm assuming, David, maybe you want to jump in here, that
I would
maybe
call
they
the
could
question.
ratify our resolution that we adopted.
I'd call the question. That doesn't
Okay.
apply. Those are
Doesn't
somebody else's issues. Our issue is before us. Call the
Okay.
question.
Well,
Thank you,
I did have
Commissioner
one
Arnott.
clarification that
Did-
was asked for before we do this. As a point of clarification, you asked, do we do this with a minute order and on consent calendar? And I'm saying, yeah, I'm fine with that. And you said you wanted to know how the rest of us were. Is that part of the motion?
So
I seconded when you said it, so.
Oh, so you're quicker than I thought there, Federal. Okay, thank you.
So Terry Ann, do we have the correct guidance on the motion and how
I
we want to
do.
do it going forward? Okay,
Yeah,
thank
I do
you.
think Tim had his hand up though. Did you want to make a comment?
Okay,
Just to make sure it's really clear, I would have Commissioner Butt, who raised the motion, to modify his motion to include that it be in the consent calendar and be done by minute order. And then that way we can have it, it's nice and clean.
okay. Are you amenable to those modification, Commissioner Butt?
Yeah.
Okay. And I believe Commissioner Glover felt that was what he was seconding. So thank you for the clarifications, everyone. And unless I see other hands raised, Terry Ann, will you please conduct the roll call vote?
Yes, thank you. Commissioner Arnrich,
Yes.
Commissioner Butt,
Yes.
Commissioner Glover,
Yes.
Commissioner Haskew,
Yes,
Commissioner Hudson,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes,
Commissioner Nowak, absent, Commissioner Thorpe,
Aye.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Fideli,
Yes.
Chair Geringer.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously with Commissioner Nowak absent.
Okay, well, thank you again to everyone for making the time, and we will now adjourn to our next regularly scheduled meeting on October 20th at 6 p.m. See you all then, if not before. Thank you. And thanks,
Thank you,
Terry
Terry
Ann.
Ann.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.